Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. LeBron is back at it again on his Mind on the Money podcast, right? Because this is what it's all about, money, while trying to rewrite history. Okay? And I told you guys, I said this is about money. His podcast, every episode, they're gonna break up the episode into like 3-4 different videos and get 300,000 views to over 1 million views, right? So it's all about money for him and JJ Redick and about rewriting the history. And we were told it was about fundamentals and X's and O's. That's what it was going to be about. What they do is they try to play it off, in the videos and act like they're going to talk about something different at first. And then we're getting into his meltdowns in the playoffs that he wants to rewrite and say he didn't have enough help. His guys were minimal players. The coaches weren't good enough, all this stuff. And look, we've already did a video on this, LeBron's top 13 meltdowns and choke jobs, right? A choke job is when you were supposed to win and you didn't. A meltdown is when we look at your percentages and your averages and your turnovers and stuff like that. Your percentages, your field goal percentages, what you shot at the line, what you shot from three, if you was trying to shoot the three, your turnovers and stuff like that, right? Your plus minus, and that's a meltdown. And sometimes you could do both, choke and meltdown. And this is what this guy has done his first, 6 seasons in the playoffs. 06, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All in a row, and the media does not talk about this. They were talking about it back in the day, but we're going to act like they weren't calling this guy the meltdown king, LeBrick, a choker, a king with no rings. So he wants to rewrite history. He doesn't want to talk about fundamentals, and he doesn't want to talk about X's and O's because apparently he was lacking those things when he was choking and melting down. And before we get into the year he was talking about when he played the Magic and he was claiming, oh, the floor was just so spaced out and the Magic was the first in 2009 playoffs. The Magic was the first people who had the spaced out floor and they had better shooters and our players got hurt, all this stuff, but he won't talk about his meltdowns. So, 6 years in a row, this guy melted down ever since he made it into the playoffs, right? And nobody wants to talk about that suddenly. But we're going to talk about it right here, right? 2000, before we get into the 09 game against the Magic. 2006, his first time in the playoffs after he missed the playoffs, his first 2 seasons, his second season in the league, he had an all-star teammate. Didn't make the playoffs because he lost 19 of, I think it was 31 games after the all-star break. They still would have been talking about this if it was Michael Jordan who didn't make the playoffs with an all-star teammate, right? So he took a 3-2 lead going back home on the Pistons, right? In 2006, his first time in the playoffs. So game 6 and 7, he had a chance to close it out at home in game 6. He had 32 points, but shot 8 for 20 from the field, 40% from the field, 20% from 3, 7 turnovers, and was a -2. Game 7, okay, elimination game. 11 for 24 from the field, 45% from the field, 0% from 3, breaking it up, 3 turnovers, a -16 and 62% from the line. This was LeBron. And remember, I did a video on this already. This guy is a forward that shoots like 60% or more of his shots in the paint. And this guy, it took him, 13 seasons before he shot for his whole career, shot 50% from the field. Wow. And I think it was until his 7th season to where he shot 50% from the field in a season. A horrible shooter, right? So let's keep going. The next year, he shows up in the NBA Finals. Nobody knows how. That was only his first time in the playoffs the year before. And this could never happen in the 80s or the 90s. In the 80s, you needed 3 to 5 Hall of Famers on your team just to make it to the finals, right? He had no Hall of Famers on his team. Beat a Detroit team in '07 without Ben Wallace, a bench player, Chris Webber. Now, they're trying to put Chauncey in the Hall of Fame, so I guess we got to add him, right? So, in those finals, 22 points per game, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 35% from the field, 20% from three, 69% from the line, and 5.7 turnovers. Okay, this is crazy. And in the finals, he was attempting like 4 or 5 threes a game, right? And this just goes to show, go watch the highlights. If you shut Michael Jordan down from driving, he's going to shoot your lights out from the perimeter. He's going to shoot your lights out. You just don't know what to do with this guy. '08, the next season, coming off of a meltdown in the NBA Finals. This is what this guy does. He faces his first super team, right? The mighty Boston Celtics, right? Already been in the league 5 years. He faces 3 Hall of Famers, 26 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2.1 steals, 1.3 blocks, 5.3 turnovers, 38% from the field, and 23% from three, and 75% from the line. You know how much this guy had to shoot to get 27 or 26 points per game? And his field goal percentage was 38%. Oh my goodness. And he took this mighty Boston Celtics team to a game 7. That's how weak that Boston team was, right? A Boston team that he's going to play in 2010 again. And they were the 4th seed. They were together for like 6 years, only won the East one time. He had the number 1 seed over this Boston team, 09 and 2010. And he won the MVP over these guys? What a weak East, right? Let me remind you, Jordan never lost as a number 1 seed, ever, or even lost when he had home court advantage. Never in the playoffs. So all these people saying, "Oh, he never beat the Pistons. He never beat Boston." Yeah, he never did when he wasn't supposed to. Right? He could never beat them because he was not the favorite. And guess what? The Pistons were the favorite in 91, and he still beat that team. So let's skip 2009 because this is what this video is about, and we're going to get back to it. So 2010, he plays the mighty Boston Celtics again, the Big Three, right? And people say this Big Three was better than the Big Three Boston Celtics of the 80s, who won 3 championships. Bird won 3 MVPs in a row. I think they won the East, if I'm not mistaken, 5 or 6 times. And they had 3 top 75 players on that team and 1 Hall of Famer. And you're trying to tell me the Big Three that LeBron faced was better? So for the second time in a row, LeBron as the number 1 seed loses, this time to the number 4 seed in a epic series meltdown for the ages, right? They kind of talk about this one, but they're not talking about all his other meltdowns, right? So in games 4, 5, and 6, game 4, he had 22 points, 7 for 18 from the field, 38% from the field, 0 for 5 from 3, 0% 3-point percentage, 7 turnovers, and was a -7. Game 5, 15 points, 3 for 14 from the field, 21% field goal percentage, 0 for 4 from 3, 0% from 3, 0% field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and 3 turnovers, a -22. Game 6, 27 points, 8 for 21 from the field, 38% from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, 50% 3-point percentage, and if I'm not mistaken, 9 turnovers, and was a -5, right? 2011 with his super team. And we're just going over 6 straight meltdowns, right? Game 4 in the NBA Finals against the Mavs. 8 points, 4 turnovers, 27% from the field, 0 3-point percentage, 50% from the line, -6. Game 5, 17 points, 4 turnovers, 42% from the field, 0 percent 3-point percentage, and 50% from the line, and was a -11. Game 6 close out, right? Or get eliminated. 21 points, 6 turnovers, 60% from the field, 3-point percentage, 40. 25% from the line. It was a minus 24. So let's get into this one. The 2009 playoffs against Orlando. Yes, he did average 38 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. That's pretty good. But let's see what he had to do to get that. Where's this guy ever shooting 50% from the field? This is crazy. This is a forward, a guy shooting like 60% or more of his shots in the paint and can't even shoot 50%? Have you ever seen anything like this? Game 3, 2 turnovers, 8 for 28 from the field, 39% field goal percentage, and he had 41 points. Wow. Either this dude was getting to the line, because for you to get 41 points on 39% from the field is this is crazy. You talk about Jordan taking a lot of shots. Game 4, I think he had 2 turnovers. Let me see. No, game 3 he had 2 turnovers. Game 4, I'm not sure this is right. I think he had 2 turnovers too. But he was 13 for 29 from the field, 44% from the field, and 44 points. Again, we're going to look at the points, but we're not going to look at this guy's field goal percentage. This guy was breaking it up. Game 5, 4 turnovers, 11 for 24 from the field, 45% from the field, and 37 points. The elimination game, 25 points, 8 for 20 from the field, 40% from the field, 3-point percentage, 25%, free throw percentage, 63%, and he was 3 turnovers, and he was a minus 12. Wow. I know his fans are going to say he did all he could. This guy, when is this guy ever shooting 50% from the field? When is he ever shooting from the free throw line a good percentage in the 80s? It's always 63, 69, 75. How many points are you leaving on the court if you're shooting under 80%? And I keep trying to tell people, this is going to tell you how good of a shooter you really are from the free throw line. And this was a game back then, an era, where dudes wasn't chucking up threes like that. It was more of a mid-range game in the paint, especially for LeBron. But for some reason, in a lot of these playoff losses, this guy chucked up a lot of threes. And that's what brought his field goal percentage down, because he was breaking it up from 3. Breaking it up. If you can't shoot the 2, the mid-range, if you can't shoot from the line, why are you out there shooting threes? And I did a video on this before. This guy will be in these playoff games attempting 4 to 6 threes a game. Why? You're not a good 3-point shooter, but the reason is because when they closed off the hole, he knew he couldn't shoot the mid-range for nothing. So sometimes he would get lucky and start hitting these threes. You'll see in some of them playoff series and some of them games, he'll shoot like 75%. But the next game, he'll shoot 0%. The next game, he's shooting 31%. Next game, he's shooting 34%. And that's why I keep telling people, this is why this guy never had a coach. Because this guy was given the red light by, I don't know who, I guess by the league, right, to do what he wanted to do, because they wanted to erase Kobe Bryant's legacy quickly, especially after that Colorado thing. Sexual misconduct. They wanted to erase Kobe Bryant from the NBA. Kobe Bryant had already won 3 championships already. And they knew by the time then in his 3rd championship, or when they lost the fourth one, he was already the best player in the league. They didn't like Kobe because he was really arrogant. But he worked his butt off to get where he was, to be the great player he was, right? They didn't really like him for whatever reason. And after that sexual misconduct case, that was even more of a reason to go ahead and get rid of him. And they thought this dude, LeBron, was going to be the chosen one to erase Kobe Bryant. But it never happened because even though Kobe Bryant didn't have any help after Shaq left, he was still balling. He was still balling. And everybody in the league, even LeBron, said that Kobe Bryant was the best player in the league up until what? They were still giving interviews in 2010, 11. They said, everybody, even LeBron, Kobe Bryant is the best player in the league. And the best player they ever seen since Michael Jordan. The closest thing since Michael Jordan. So, yeah, this is what this guy was doing. He was melting down. And if you saw my last video when we was talking about Shaq carrying Kobe, what did Kobe? He averaged like 15 points per game. His first finals, 22. His second finals, and like 26. His third finals, right? That's on the same level of LeBron James, right? LeBron, 2007, 22 points. 2011, 17 points. In 2012, I think LeBron averaged like between like 25 and 27. So the thing is, Kobe was a number 2 to Shaq. So what's LeBron's excuse? So this is what this guy's going to do. He's going to come on this podcast once a week. Sometimes we don't even know. Sometimes it's on a Tuesday. Sometimes it's on a Wednesday. Sometimes it's on a Saturday, depending on, when his games pop up, that he should be out there trying to practice with his team. And, that's another thing is, too, he was making excuses on why he lost to Orlando in 2009. J.J. Redick was really helping him out, too, right? You need J.J. Redick to make up the excuses and the narrative and stuff like that to help LeBron out, right? He's not going to challenge him. He's going to go along with the narrative and make up narratives for LeBron James on why he melted down in all these playoff series, his first 6 seasons in the playoffs. And he says that they wasn't ready for Orlando because they was practicing. Every time they practiced, they was practicing to play Boston. You hear this? He said in the playoffs, when you're supposed to be practicing versus a certain opponent and you're watching tape and you're doing this to get ready for that opponent, you want to see their weaknesses, their strengths, so you can get out on the court and you can practice against them when you see them, what you need to do. He said he was practicing against what Boston was doing. So they was pretty much taking for granted the team that was in front of them. What? Bro, I'm trying to tell you, boy, when you listen to this guy, that's why you can't take this guy serious. You cannot take this serious. You're in a film room and you're studying video of not your opponent. You're watching video on Boston, right? Because you did hear the numbers, right? 2008 coming off the 2007 meltdown in the finals, he plays Boston and just gets shell shocked. That was pretty much as bad as the one in the finals the year before. His numbers and averages and percentages, right? This makes no sense. If you're telling us that they got all these shooters on their team, Hedo Turkoglu, Jameer Nelson, and all these kind of guys, in that, what's this guy's name? Whatever the coach's name was, I think Stan Van Gundy or something like that, was the coach. And that's the first time they ever seen a floor spread like that. And he started the spread of the floor at that time. He won't give nobody else no credit. He just tries to make up excuses why he got beat. So how come you didn't go shut down Hedo Turkoglu? Because he was bombing. How come he didn't go shut down Hedo Turkoglu? Just like Sports and Fitness Rants likes to say, how come he didn't go out there and shut down Hedo Turkoglu? He can guard 1 through 5, right? How come he didn't go shut him down? And then he acts like his team wasn't good enough. What? You had the number one overall seed in the whole NBA going into the playoffs, and that team wasn't good enough? That team had Ben Wallace, I think Wally Serbiak, Antoine Jameson. Um, I think that year, Mo Williams was an all-star. They had you. They had El Gauskas. Y'all was balling on defense and offense. If I'm not mistaken, they were top 5 offense in the league and top 5 defense in the league. And you're telling me about how good that team was? Bro, how about you stop missing shots and stop turning the ball over, hit your free throws, stop shooting all these threes, and you guys go to the finals. They was the number 3 seed, Orlando was. Yes, that team was better than you, and that's what he's trying to do now. Oh, these teams were just better than us. Yeah, they were better than you on that day. They weren't better than you on the season. Not even close. They was the number 3 seed. They was better than you that day because what they had saw was you melted down in '08 in the playoffs against Boston. You melted down in 2007 finals. You melted down in 2006. So everybody is looking at your weaknesses. Keep you from driving in the paint. Spread the floor out because guess what? You're not going to play any defense because this is what this guy wants to do. And I'm trying to tell you, when you see this 38, 8, and 8, what's he want to do? He wants to get all the points, just about all the rebounds, and he wants to be Magic Johnson on the floor. Instead of playing one position and getting those stats in a flow, he wants to play the point guard. So he takes the point guard and the guard, and they're irrelevant now. The center and power forward, watch out, LeBron needs his stats. He's got to get his eight boards, got to get his 7 boards. And that's how they're used to playing all season. But come the playoffs, guess what? You got to have a different strategy. And that's what these guys do in the playoffs is different too. Everything slows down. You're not going to be scoring a lot of points. You're not going to be doing all these fast breaks. You're not going to be doing all this nonsense that you did in the regular season. So I just want to make this video because I heard word about this podcast, and I was like, well, let me go back and I already know his history. I mean, his whole history is fabricated. We keep talking about Jordan couldn't get past the Celtics with no help. Jordan couldn't get past the Pistons with a Scottie Pippen just arriving his first year that they played the Pistons and was a bench player. Yet the Pistons had 3 Hall of Famers. The Celtics had 3 Hall of Famers. The point is, Jordan didn't melt down in those games like LeBron did. When you look at his percentages, his averages, his free throws, his turnovers. That's the only reason why you hear about Michael Jordan. People think it's just about his championships. No. He was going down like an OG, even if he was losing. That's what made Michael Jordan. It wasn't until, when he started winning the championships, it was no mercy now. He finally got some guys to play with him. Like the Pistons had some guys to play with them. Like the Celtics had some guys to play with them. Like the Lakers had some guys to play with them. Now it's no mercy. You guys want to talk about his competition? No, it was no mercy. This dude come up out of the 80s. He was already battle tested. He beat the Pistons with only one Hall of Fame teammate. He beat the Lakers with only one Hall of Fame teammate and the guy who didn't even make the All-Star team that year. And you guys sitting here talking about Worthy got hurt. No, the Bulls going to beat them regardless, homeboy. Bulls going to beat them regardless. Everybody has their time. The question is, when the Bulls was at their peak in 91, okay, let's go against the 80s Celtics. Let's go against the 80s Lakers. Let's go against the 80s Pistons. You guys, you want Jordan to win with nobody just because he was putting up great stats. He was putting up them great stats because he was showing that you guys need all these guys to beat just me. That's what he was showing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set playoff records on you. I'm going to score 32 points and grab 8 boards and have 8 assists. That's what I'm going to do. But when it's my turn and I get to the finals, I'm gonna break all kind of records. That's what I'm gonna do when I finally get my chance, and that's what he did. What did LeBron do when he finally got his chance? Melt it down, have to go run to other dudes for help. Like I said, the dude has so many shortcomings that he couldn't just be like, okay, wait, I'm coming to play with you. I suck. I melted down. No, he had to bring Bosh. Then he had to go get Allen in 13. And those teams were loaded too on top of that. Hey, I got too many shortcomings. Hey, I suck. Kyrie, I'm coming back home to play with you. Oh, what did Kyrie do without LeBron? Kyrie had only been in the league a few years with nobody on his team. What do you want Kyrie to do? He's the one that wanted to go play with Kyrie because he saw Kyrie was a top 5 player in the league. Again, that's what he does. When he went to the Heat, he played with Bosh and Wade, 2 top 10 players in the league at the time. To me, top 5. When he went back home to Cleveland, Love and Kyrie were top 10 players in the league, if not top 5. Easily. And this is what this guy does. He's got so many shortcomings. He's got to have all these great players playing with him. Took a 2-1 lead going back home on the Warriors 2015. What happened? He lost the rest of the games. Oh, man, Love got hurt too. Kyrie got hurt the first game. So how did he win another game without Kyrie? You guys excuse everything this guy does. And the fact that this guy is trying to rewrite history. I mean, it's just painful when you watch this guy on his podcast. He's stumbling and mumbling and stuttering and doing all this stuff. Man, like, you've been in front of a podium all your life doing interviews and you can't even get your script right. JJ Redick can't even get it right neither. Fumbling and bumbling and stuttering and all this stuff. And JJ Redick, he has to set him up too. He has to set him up for the lie. Because LeBron can't even come out with the lie by himself. I told you guys, the NBA cannot sell itself based on this play on the court. No more. So they had to turn the league into a reality show. A reality show. Told you before the other day. It's all set up for LeBron. If he loses this season in the playoffs, guess what? The offseason is his. Who's going to pick Bronny so LeBron can opt out and go to that team and make that team hundreds of millions of dollars? The circus show, the reality show. So they can charge the fans more money for popcorn, alcohol, food, parking, tickets, merch, all this stuff. It's nothing about basketball that this league is about anymore, the NBA. Nothing. Because if it was, they would have been talking about Joker. They would have been talking about Luka more. They would have been talking about their upcoming stars. Wemby. Do you think they held Wemby back because they didn't want him to get hurt this year? No. They don't want this guy averaging 30, 15, and like 5 blocks a game. That's why they was holding this guy back as far as minutes restrictions. Because they wanted to be about LeBron. Zion. More popular than LeBron coming in the league, and guess what? He's just hurt every season. Is that just a coincidence? So you guys tell me what you think, man. This is what we're going to talk about all the time, about this guy just lying. But we got history right here. Go watch my video. LeBron's top, 12 or 13 meltdowns and choke jobs. We go over it. Year by year. It's just and we show you all the stats, 06, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 playoffs or finals where he choked it up. I talked about it more on this video, but we show you the actual stats on the video of this guy choking it up, melting down. He's not this great player that people are talking about. Okay, the chosen reality show.